I'm sorry.
Yes, we are already live.
We just got live.
We just
Hi,
got live.
guys.
We just got live. So welcome everybody to the present show of today. It's starting a different way today because we have the DJ today is MindfulPat. So MindfulPat, I allow you to open the present show today. It's starting a different way today because we have the DJ today is MindfulPat. So MindfulPat and switch off the YouTube to open page today.
Uh, Sorry, I had it like going in two sounds. I was like, why is there an echo? Because it was opening up on YouTube as well. Hello, everyone. I don't have the fancy intro because Lele's internet went out, but we still connected. We have Patrick Schaefer joining us.
Ciao, Patrick. Welcome.
Hey, guys.
Present show.
From Ireland, yes?
Yes. Yes, the great
Excellent.
town of Dublin.
Excellent. Good to have you. So yes, spotlight's on you today. So I don't know if you want to do any quick shout out or just begin by telling us your mindfulness story.
Yeah. Hey, look, I'm glad to be with you guys. They didn't tell me this was on YouTube, so this could be launching a whole new career. No idea. But look, I am absolutely thrilled to be with you guys today. And as most of you probably listening, or some of you soon will have, or want to have, or might have in the future, is your own mindfulness journey to share.
Mm-hmm.
But let me start off with, I'm an IBMer. So I am, like everybody else that works at IBM. And I had my own mindfulness story. And I was just telling these guys before everybody joined and we went live across the world that I actually tried to start mindfulness twice before I actually succeeded. The second time, though, Patrick and a gentleman by the name of Stephen Ware were giving a really great.
That was one of our guests.
Oh, he is? Okay.
Wow.
Hi, Steve. But anyway, they were giving a really good session. And at the time, and this was a totally new experience for me. And I had been going through a very bad manic depressive episode for about 2 months prior to their session. And I really tried during that session. And I knew this is something that would help. It's just that I was getting frustrated. I couldn't do it. I couldn't keep concentration. I couldn't focus, and I think it was just because of everything else going on. But I have to tell you that Patrick and Stephen absolutely, positively provided me inspiration that maybe I can get over this episode. Because I really didn't understand what was going on with me, let alone how am I going to get past this? Am I ever going to get any better? Total transparency here. I mean, it got to the point where, Stephen and Patrick gave a session that day, and it was really, really bad. And, not their session, me. I was really bad. Their session was really great. And Stephen, and I don't know why he did this, but he texted me. And I'm so thankful for that, because that was actually the day that, I really contemplating just driving the car off a bridge on the way home. It's because, look, I don't get this. I don't understand what's going on with me. I shouldn't feel this way. I don't want to live like this. But these two gentlemen gave me hope. And what I mean by that is I saw what it's done for them. And, Patrick has benefited from this. Stephen and I had several conversations, and his life had turned around from this, and it actually gave me hope. So I went home, I handed my keys to someone else and said, never let me drive again. And I called my doctor and I said, look, I tried this mindfulness thing. I just can't. And he goes, no, you need to. But he said, no, you're not going to be able to right now. Long story short, I ended up in the hospital for 8 weeks. I was bound and determined that I was going to beat this thing. One of the standard classes was mindfulness. Mm-hmm. And I really looked forward to that. And after the initial session was over, we, for lack of a better word, we were able to do electives because, the whole purpose is self-help here. Mm-hmm. And I, one of my electives was mindfulness. So I took a more detailed view of it. And I began to understand certain things that Patrick had said and certain things that Stephen had said on the sessions that now seem to be making some kind of sense to me. And so that's how I learned mindfulness. I will tell you, it is now part of my daily wellness toolkit, which you also learn to put together when you're in that kind of a situation. And those are things that you need to do for you that will help keep you healthy day in and day out, so you never get into a situation like that.
And what does that the daily practice consist of?
So for me, mindfulness is a piece, but it is not the only piece. So one, and I know these are really fundamental things, but that's the beauty of it. These don't have to be elaborate things. They can be very simple. And, one of my issues was eating right. So, routine is important. So now I will go ahead and get up 15 minutes early. I have water, decaffeinated coffee, and yogurt for breakfast. So I start with, I think, some proper nutrition. And it allows me enough time that I don't have to rush out the door and hurry to work. It's more of a journey to work as opposed to, this mad dash for the office. The other thing is I've set this on my watch. It will actually remind me a couple times a day to stand up and breathe. And just the ability of whatever you're thinking about, whatever you're in the middle of, it reminds you that as soon as you can, stand up, walk around a little bit, breathe for 2 minutes. And once you get used to it, and once your mind, actually kind of gets in the rhythm of that, you feel so much better. And I would never believe that when I started. I'm thinking, come on, seriously. So you're having me stand up and count breaths. Like, honestly, this is the best you guys could do in this hospital. But anyway, it does work, and your mind gets to it. And as a matter of fact, when I do Headspace, that's another one of my practices. And Patrick asked me about it. And look, it's 10 to 12 minutes a day. But if I ever get distracted, because look, I've learned, for me, my mind is always going to have thoughts come in, and you can't stop it. And I've learned that you shouldn't try. They just happen. I mean, that's because what the mind does. But if I want to refocus on what I'm trying to do, I will start counting my breaths again. And it is the most surefire way for me to kind of get back and just kind of let the thoughts continue to go out. I must admit that did not happen right away. That took time. Mm-hmm. And as a matter of fact, my first visit, once I was out of the hospital and I went back, I said, look, I'm still flunking mindfulness, guys. I just cannot. I'm trying, but it's just, I still think. And he's like, you're grand. He said, just keep doing it. And no, he said, don't worry about it. You're fine. Just keep doing it. And the other thing, though, that he encouraged me was different mindfulness techniques work for different people. And the great thing and the wonderful thing about mindfulness is there are so many different forms of it, from mindfulness coloring to mindfulness eating to mindful breathing to getting entrenched in a game that just kind of takes all your focus and all your energy and it gets you away from everything else. One of the things that I really began to love, in addition to Headspace, is music. And I can go ahead, put music on, but I have cooler headphones than he does.
Then Lele.
I'm just saying. But anyway, I will go ahead and put on music, and I could just, kind of really get into it. In the fact,
how do you practice with music? You focus on the beat, or you focus on the
and what I do is I take a more complicated piece of music, and I start trying to strip out, like I was a synthesizer or something, like the different tracks or the different sounds. So I'll kind of break out the percussion, and then if there's a really cool like wind section or something like that, I'll start thinking about that, or strings, or what have you, and that does it for me, surefire, and I enjoy it. So in addition to the headspace, the music I enjoy. I always like music. It's just always it's just a good way of relaxing. And then the other, Patrick asked, what kind of habits. So walk. I know that sounds kind of elementary, but just getting out, even if it's raining, and it's Dublin, so chances are it's going to be. You put a raincoat on or something, and you can just kind of walk for a few minutes, and no music, no anything else. For me, it works. Just like clear your mind, go out, go for a walk. And I just happen to be by a park. It's kind of cool. You just kind of walk around the pond. And I really tried, because my doctor was also really big on this. He said, look, if no TVs in the room. I don't want you looking at your computer past a certain time of day. He said, stop with the iPhone and the social media. And he said, you need to give yourself, a couple hours, before you go to bed. So I changed the routine. Now I read. So all those cool things that I have wanted to read for quite some time. So rather than watching, the latest cool series on Netflix, before I go to bed now, I will read. And I just think it's, not being by the media, being totally separate from the device you sit in front of for, 9-10 hours a day when you're in the office, just is kind of a help. So that's really my story.
So basically,
I got to say,
the interesting thing is that the mindfulness practice to you gave more a realization of what is around you and how you can control, let's say, the things around you, right? So that, your time, your things, and the fact that maybe you're getting stressed in a certain moments of the day and so on. So by this learning to focus and observing yourself mindfully, you actually found a better way to live every day.
And what I really like that you did, Patrick, and you mentioned it, is it's so fundamental. You just went back to the fundamental aspects, right? Changing your diet, spending more time outdoors, breathing, listening to music, connecting more with your own thoughts.
Yes.
And I thought that was really nice for you to tell us all that and how you could practice different ways. And thanks so much for sharing the story.
No,
because
hey, thanks for having me, and I thank you guys, because I think this is incredible. I think what you guys are doing for the community is just absolutely fantastic. So February in Ireland is going to be Mindfulness Month.
Mm-hmm.
So I do owe Stephen a call, and I will, and we will get that kicked off and going. So it's great.
Perfect.
So a special session in February from Ireland, Patrick, we should do.
Yes, we should.
Special.
So let's end like we always end the show with a mindful minute.
Yeah.
And then we'll get going. So we'll take a little bit of the past and the future and the breathing into this one. So sit back, stand back, walk around, just take a little bit of time to close your eyes. Start focusing on the breath. Bring your attention to all the things that you've done today. Consciously try to think about what was done before this call. Now bring your attention to the future. What are you going to start doing after this call, after this video? The rest of your day, tomorrow. And now just start to breathe. Count your breaths. And take one deep inhale, exhale, and you can open your eyes. Perfect.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thanks, Patrick. Once again, Lele, everyone, thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching and
Bye.
see you in a week. And don't forget to be